Hey, guys and gals. I hope you guys are doing very well this weekend. A week after I've come back from work or from my vacation time, everything went so far so good. Just a little bump in the road last Friday, not this Friday, but the Friday before, where there were a couple of miscommunications. The managers were not even in Friday afternoon when this actually ran into this little hiccup. Three of the four, I should say, three out of the five people decided to take their lunch or their break at the same time. Two of them were an hour-long lunch, and one was a half-hour lunch. And normally, when you're supposed to have your breaks, usually you have to give like a half hour, or at least give the guys, the people who haven't had their break yet, their first break first before going on to their lunch break, So it ended up around 3 o'clock that afternoon that we had two people, well, actually three, taking their breaks, which is just unfair. Not only that, we were getting slammed with a lot of calls. And this is something that should have been seen, and instead of just going on break, is have at least one other person come back onto the phones to help out, to clear the queue and all that. So, but it ended up being one of those days that was just not a day to work with. Last Friday, this past Friday, it wasn't so bad, so I'm not going to complain about that. But the one before that was just horrible. Something that should never have happened did happen, and most of the guys, they just don't understand. I said, it's simple. If you're going to let this slide, I might as well take my break too. And even though you're going to have four people on break, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt the numbers, and it's going to hurt the team. So, I tried to keep that even to both managers there. I said, look, you know better. You know as well as I do. I don't like seeing low numbers, and this is just low of the low. So, I didn't try to push it that much farther because I'm just the lowest one on the totem pole like the rest of the other ones. So, can only do so much. So, Denise, my girlfriend, is doing okay. She's trying to keep busy. She's helping her sister out by the name of Kim. It's her twin, identical. I'd say twin sister. I don't know if they're exactly identical, but her sister was actually in an accident not too long, a little while ago, so she's trying to recover and all that. And she looks exactly the same as she does. So they definitely would like to be able to come up, and I'm hoping that we'll have the space to do so. And hopefully they would like to get their own space too, which means I possibly might be moving out, which is a big leap of faith on my part. Yes, I will still be helping my mom, just that I won't be there directly at the house because I'm going to be having somebody special in my life too now. And I haven't had a decent relationship in over 30 years, and I'm in desperate need of one right now. So I'm taking that there as one step at a time, see what we're going, see how we're going to work things out and stuff like that. The weather outside happens to be awesome today, very warm. By next week, we'll hopefully going to be taking out the air conditioner because it's that season. It's coming winter, so the air conditioner should be coming out soon. And it's not that bad. It's not a huge air conditioner. It's I think an 8 or a 10,000 BTU. So my friend Steve and I, the one that I've actually mentored, is going to come down and help out. So that's going to be an easy thing to do, to get that out and then go for lunch or something like that. So it's going to be a good thing. So I'm going to hopefully get that done with him next Saturday. And hopefully we won't be so tired. It's just I noticed that with our other helper that we had, they started to charge quite a bit, spending an hour or two here. And I looked at Mom. I told my mom, I said, "Look, let's save the headaches. I got friends here. They're gladly willing to help out because I helped them out without any problems, and it's a two-way street." So I'm going to be getting my friend Steve to come and help me as well to get things done with my mom, so that way it gets done and everything's up and up. And what else? There's not that much happening outside besides some little odds and ends. I was just outside with my new blower that I have. It's the new brushless one from Ryobi. It's a nice little blower. It's just it actually. I'm finding out now. It eats 4 amp hour batteries very nicely. Um, it's just that the amount of sand that I didn't brush up or got loose beforehand. So it definitely took longer than I expected. So I've actually drained out one battery now and then a half one just a few moments ago. So uh, learning about these tools, especially blowers and all that, they take quite a bit of runtime on the batteries because they use a lot of power, and most people don't realize, especially if you're new to battery operated power tools, that depending on the situation, like depending on what you're doing with them, like in this case I was using a portable hand blower from Ryobi, which is actually one of the new ones are updated. So I think it did 220 cubic feet per second for blowing and at 140 miles an hour. So the mirror minimums usually on that is 4 amp hours, and it lasts about I would say about 10 to 15 minutes if you set it up on high, and that's what I had. I had set it up on high, so the batteries actually was basically completely dead. Well, not dead per se, but really dead, just drained out to where I need to recharge it now. So that should be an easy fix afterwards. I'm going to prop it up on one of the chargers here and just fully recharge it afterwards. But like I said, most people just don't realize, especially when you read some people just don't read the owner's manual and see how long it usually will last. And there's a reason why they say usually a bare minimum of 4 amp hour for certain tools. Circular saw is one of them, 4 amp hour. Even with my blower and all that, the weed whacker, 4 amp hours. If it's going to be longer than what I need it for, then yeah, I'll check up the amp hours for a longer runtime. So that's not so bad. The only time I'll use like a higher amp hours is for my fans, if I'm going to be running them all day, or if I'm going to be doing a lot of opening and closing nuts, as an example. Like if you're going to do tires, with the pneumatic wrench as an example, something like that. Yeah, definitely you need a 4 amp hour, but you need a larger amp hour battery if you're going to go all day with it. So like at 8, 9, and even 12 amp hours would be probably more preferable ones because those last longer. So that's what I've learned so far in my experience with using Ryobi, and it should be almost the same across the board with the other ones, whether you're running Ryobi, DeWalt, Rigid, Milwaukee, and some of the other finer ones, which I just can't remember the name off the top of my head. So just those things you learn from experience and learn as you go. So hey everybody, it's Sunday afternoon. Yesterday I kind of cut myself short at the end there. I meant to say goodbye to everybody, but didn't. Oopsies. I was actually just out earlier this morning there. I had to pick up some stuff there for around the house. Some little odds and ends here and there. Had to go over to actually Walmart to pick up some peanuts that we feed to the squirrels in the backyard. So actually I was there right after I had gone to Super C, which is a grocery store here in Quebec. I had to go down to Walmart to pick up some peanuts there, and sure enough, they didn't have any in stock. They were completely out until next week, I believe. They're going to be receiving a shipment on that. So they were just completely out, and it's been a while since I've actually been to that Walmart there that's closest to us, and it's like a huge change compared to the last time I was there. So I had to reorient myself on the inside just to get to where I needed to go, and specifically for the peanuts and all that, because it used to be a different type of system they had there, and I was more or less used to the old one, not the new system. So uh, one thing I'll say locally, most people who are working as customer service reps, whether it's a big box store like Walmart, Best Buy, other companies like that, I find that some people are really, they don't really want to learn anything, or they don't want to speak, they don't want to learn another language. Now, me being a CSR, me being a service rep for the financial institution, specifically for the ATMs, I have to speak French and English no matter what. I deal with both official languages here up here in Canada, especially when I'm going from coast to coast to coast. And I'm also helping out our counterparts over in the States. So, besides not speaking Spanish, but I do speak the French and English one, which is not a problem. Um, that's where we run into problems like with the young kids, where they just don't want to learn it and they don't think it's important, which in fact is a shame to see. It is important for everybody, whether you're French, English, it doesn't matter the cultural background. Whether you're from Germany, Hungary, Pakistan, so long as you can learn a second or a third language, you'll be better off. And the fun thing is that you got people like myself who speak multiple languages, but also make uh, jokes between each other, so that way it makes it more fun, more easier to learn. So that way we get to learn off of each other in a good way, not in a bad way. And that's what I find in some cases, that some people are just too, like, I don't want to deal with it. I just want to deal with the French. That's it, or whatever native tongue they speak. So this is where I'm just finding a rough time with some of them, and it's just I'm just trying to understand their logic. And it's just it's not there. And yeah, I did quite a bit of walking today myself, so I just have to do a couple minor things around the house. One of them happens to be vacuuming. It's the Sunday that I do vacuuming both upstairs and downstairs. So I got my little stick vac that I have, and I love that so much from Ryobi. Uh, in case you guys are Ryobi fans, it's the PCL 720. It's a nice little vacuum. It's a brushed model, and it's been working so far. I'm lucky in certain aspects that either I get a good uh, a good tool that out of the box it works flawlessly without any problems at all, or I buy them brand spanking new in the box, bring it home, open it and test it out, and it's a what they call as a DOA, dead on arrival. In other words, there's a problem that when it left the factory and it didn't get resolved, and it was just shipped out without any warnings. So I'm lucky that I have this stick vac here, and from what I've heard from other people who have the exact same one, that they had so many problems with it, and it's like I think they're just manhandling the stick vac wrongly, which does happen. Not many people are uh, tool inclined to say of understanding the capabilities of the stick vac or the vacuum cleaner itself in general, that it just tends to break down very quickly for them, which it happens from time to time. The worst case that I've ever gotten for a tool breaking down, because I was actually running, I think, one or two. What was it? The battery. It was a hybrid fan, 7.5-inch Ryobi fan, and I burnt through two motors because of the bearings. But because it's the way I think the bearings were prepared on the motor itself. That's why it burnt out, and it just decided to die on me. And forget about it. I got my money's worth out of it anyhow in the long run. But sometimes it depends on how, like I said, it depends on how you treat the tool. And with the tools that I do truly respect and use often or on a daily basis, they last a long time, you know. So gotta do what you gotta do. Uh, Nothing really major to update here. I'm thinking of revisiting a camcorder that I actually use. That I did use at one point for a lot of uh, what you call it, videography, where I was actually just making videos out of habit. You know, going down to a, how can I say, a midway per se, or my friends wanted to do a a small skit, and they wanted to do it electronically instead of doing the old manually where you had it on VHS tape, or the old editors what they used to have. So what I've done is I've actually gone the electronic way for the last number of years. The only thing I have a problem with is that I have to import the raw footage from the camcorder, which comes in the MOD file, which is a file format for the video, for the audio and video to be synced up. Convert that through Microsoft Movie Maker. So that's Windows Live Movie Maker. I had to import it through that, get it as a WMV, Windows Movie Maker file extension, and then open that up into my OpenShot. So I go through basically two editors. One with Movie Maker from Microsoft, which is now discontinued and is no longer being supported. And then two, go use OpenShot with Blender for some of the cover text that I have, or animated text that I put in there. So I tend to use those two very interchangeably because I know I have to import it anyhow at any given rate from one to the other because of the file size. And I find that fun, by the way. I do videos. I do make videos for fun as well, but it depends on what I need it for, you know. So I tend to use that with sometimes with small little what you call it, little tri stands. They're three-legged stands for my work and all that, especially if I'm on the table and all that. So that's partly fun. So other than that, I'm going to call it a short one today for this week. I figured I'd give you guys at least a heads up. And yes, I know you're just seeing from my chest up, I'm shirtless today. I just figured I'd put this here out before I go take a shower. Anyhow, I'll catch you guys sometime around next week. And hopefully, you guys will get to see actually Denise and also Kim, her sister. Two very beautiful young ladies who I have the opportunity to speak with, both of them, who are very beautiful. I'll catch you guys later.